Hello guys, welcome to Code, and today we are talking tech money, uh, Java software engineer jobs salaries in South Africa. So we want to see how much Java devs make, and let's get right into it without wasting any time. So entry level Java developer can expect a gross monthly salary of 19k, which if you check my previous video, it was ASP.NET, and ASP.NET is just a little bit over 20k. So the one is higher according to OfferZen. So OfferZen, and it did say that ASP.NET is like 5% higher than the other guys or the other stacks or programming languages, if we put it that way. So this increases by a massive 54.2%, which is actually higher than, so Java's increase is actually higher than the ASP.NET increase, because in 2 years they projected 41% increase, and for the Java is like 54%, which is actually over 10% more, just a little bit over 10% more increase into in 2 years in. So if you start at the same time with an ASP.NET guy, he might be earning the same when you start, but 2 years in, if the trajectory is the same, then you might earn more according to OfferZen. That's what they're projecting. And obviously different companies, different opportunities, that wouldn't be the case in real life, because in real life nothing is a constant, only nature is constant. Besides that, business is not like that. So yeah, 2 years in, you're looking at 54% increase, and to like 30k once you reach 2 years of experience as junior developers, right? So that's that. And now we wanna zoom into Indeed and Talent.com, see what those guys do. And the reason why I'm using Indeed and Talent.com is because Indeed is much more realistic, I would say. I think they have more data, and they've been in the recruitment space for a couple of years now, and they have data to um, make the assumptions of pretty close to what's happening in reality. And I think that the guys that share their income on Indeed is like real world data that is from the basic to the expert, from the junior to the expert. So they have all of those ranges, and I appreciate them because their figures are much more realistic. And for Talent.com, it seems like, for me rather, it seems like they have a lot of data on like the senior, high-end expert guys. So their figures are on that higher end, where you're already into your career and you're more or just a little bit advanced, maybe like intermediate level, going to senior, going to tech lead, going to architect, and the like. So that's the contrast that I want you to have. Like, so there's nothing bad about either one. It's just for you to know that, okay, as a Java dev, my average would be something around 44,000, and if we put 44,000 on our tax calculator, well, Talent.com tax calculator, so let's put 44k there. Let's see. So you're looking at 34,000, and this is just the payee and UIF, and if you factor in the other stuff, you are looking at something at around the 30k that they were talking about here as a junior dev. That's not so bad. So depending on where you are, obviously you need to cater for your expenses, living expenses of the place that you're in, the city that you're in, be able to pay your rent and not struggle, be able to, if you get a car, be able to pay that without any issues. be able to afford all of those without feeling stressed financially. So that's the breather that you want to have as a junior starting out. So just don't be super hyped by just the big figure that you see of 45. You need to check all these things: the payee, the UIF, if there's medical aid, how much is the company contributing, how much will you be contributing, and all of those figures, they play a important a very huge factor when it comes to how much you get into your bank account, because that's the figure that makes sense to you. All these other figures are just there because they are there, but your ultimate bottom line is how much will hit my bank account at the end of the day. And that's where you need to factor in all of this. And also, if you're playing the space of saving and investing, which I would highly recommend, you obviously need to cater that in. And if you're saving, I would actually put my savings as part of this. So when you see these numbers and be like, okay, this is how much my payee will be, this is how much UIF will be, this is the medical aid, this is the life cover, this is that, and also factor in your savings at this stage. Don't factor in your savings once the number hits, and then you say, oh, okay, I have 34K, then I can save 4K, then use the 30K to pay other things, blah 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 blah. Factor it in here so that you know that that savings money is not yours, it's just gone. So whatever that is left for you to then spend. So if you're planning, let's say here you spend, you save the 4K, for example, just count the 4K out and then just say, okay, 30K, that's what I'm gonna live on. And if you look here, it's not even bad because it's already projecting that 30K is where a lot of the guys are, and you should be fine with that. And you save 4K, and you should be good that you'll jump into the savings wherever you have an emergency or something like that occurs. So an average of 44,000, I would say it's good for starting out, and there's nothing bad with that number. I think it's much more realistic also, so it's not so far-fetched as a junior dev. And interestingly, Western Cape now shows up in Java, which tells me that Western Cape, a lot of the guys outside, Stellenbosch, City Ball, Northern Suburbs, Cape Town is now even showing up. On my previous video on ASP.NET, Stellenbosch was not there, City Ball was not there, Cape Town was not there. So which tells me that a lot of the companies around Western Cape, they are more Java-centric companies. So I would say the Java dev, if you want to grow and you want to see greater heights, exploring the Java tech stack, I would say Western Cape is a place to be because it's showing up so much, then it's so much pronounced here, as opposed to ASP.NET, because ASP.NET was predominantly, it was Pretoria, Joburg, Sandton, so it's pretty much Gauteng based, but there's nothing bad about it. There's still opportunities in Western Cape for ASP.NET as well, but the figures also that you see here, Stellenbosch, you're looking at just short of 60K, City Ball just short of 60K, Sandton 56K, um, Northern Suburbs short of 52K. Centurion is like 50K, Cape Town 47K. So there's nothing really bad about all of these numbers, and you can see that they are much more pronounced in the Western Cape because I think they have a lot of companies that are actually more into the open source space. You definitely, if you're in Java, you'd want to use much more open source resources. You would have, even if you're on Springboot, you will still have your Postgres being free. You can use Linux operating systems, which is open source. Um, you have a lot of resources on open source that you can use and be flexible to build your tool and deliver it. So I would say if you're looking at making a whole lot, Western Cape is a place to be according to the figures that we see here. And if let's say we put 59,000 per month, let's see what we have. So would you look at that? You're just short of 44K if you just factor in these two. And if you factor in all the other expenses, obviously, then it will give you a much more direct indication of how much you're going to take home after that. So if you're fortunate enough to get such an opportunity where you can grow and financially be so lucky, I would say that's definitely a space where you will start to have a breather on the money that you see coming in. And obviously, and I would emphasize this more because it's not just about the money, guys. It's about getting it's about delivering the highest value that you can possibly deliver for your organization and for your clients, and make sure that the product that you working on is as high standard as it can be, and that will then guarantee you much more greater opportunities. I cannot stress this enough. Spend those hours, refine the product, scrutinize the product, make sure that you scrutinize each and every line of code that you write, and you go through it. And when you creating your unit tests, make sure that you scrutinize everything that you're doing. Test your code, debug your code, go through it. Don't just write code and simply because it works you just ship it. That's really bad and it's not going to be a good reflection on you. So test your code as much as you can. Get senior guys to look at your code, get senior guys to scrutinize your code. And I cannot stress this enough, get senior guys. The more comments you have on your code, it's actually much more beneficial for you than when no one comments on it. Because if no one comments on your code, it means like no one's really paying attention to your stuff. So you want people to pay attention to your stuff and your code and how it can be optimized and how it can be um, mm, tested in scalable environments and be scrutinized. And that will help you grow as well, to consider other factors that you might not, or the blind spots that you might have when you are writing your code. So this is also a learning opportunity to say, as much as you look at the numbers and be like, oh, I can get 58K if I'm around City Pole, 56K I'm in Centon, I get a decent apartment, I just get a good car, I get this, I get that. But that's not actually where you just want to focus on. You also want to focus on, when I get to this company, how am I going to contribute? How am I going to make sure that I'm as optimum as I can to the team and highly effective to the team, and I can contribute as much as I can as far as possible. And that spirit and that character will help you to build more relationships and also to grow in the space. And sooner or later, you'll be hitting um, the six figures per month. So that's not really far-fetched. So just apply yourself, give yourself some time, and be gentle with yourself. Make sure that you go the extra mile where it's needed. Definitely you will see the numbers coming in. So the one other side that we need to check is talent.com, obviously. So let's see here. So talent.com, as I mentioned in the previous video, I think their numbers are focused mostly on like the high-end guys, like the experts, senior architects, and all those other guys. So that's why their numbers are pushed to the towards the six figures per month. So there's nothing bad about this, but I wouldn't say to a junior developer just expect like a 75K per month. It's like, duh. It's in the field. I wouldn't give you that much, but definitely an intermediate could be around here. A senior yeah, definitely senior. So obviously around here, um, and tech leads are way above this. Um, Architects way above this. So yeah, I think for talent.com, it's for much more advanced guys. This is what you would look at if you are typically a senior and then tech lead, then architect. This is where you would go and look at the numbers. And obviously, if you're at that level, you already know the ins and outs. So I wouldn't give the same advice that I was giving like just now to those guys, because those guys, they do apply themselves. You need to keep on learning new technologies, new frameworks, new ways of doing things, how to optimize, how to scale, how to cater for performance, and all of those things. So they already know the ins and outs. So they are already in there, and it shows with the level of their career that they've been through um, the mud. So they really have applied themselves. And I think for Java, that's it. It would be the same for Spring Boot, I suppose. So even if I change it to Spring Boot, it will definitely be somewhere around the same figures. So let's see. There were a senior Spring. You see, so now it's a senior Spring developer salary in South Africa per year, which is like 8,880,000 per year. Senior Spring Boot developer. So, and the entry level position is 4.2 million per year, whilst most experienced workers make up to 11 million per year. And this is senior Spring Boot. And that's what I was saying. So this is talent.com. So now let's open talent.com and let's see this. So you see senior Spring developer is 740,000 per month. So hence I was saying that talent.com is focusing mostly on like the more senior guys. I wouldn't go for these if you're going for the average, the junior or the entry level. I wouldn't rely on talent.com that much, because it's much more realistic when to the senior guys. And then let's see what Indeed could have for us for spring. Okay, so it doesn't look like they do have for Spring Boot. Okay, but that's not so bad. I think, yeah. So essentially, Spring Boot and Java, it would be, you'll be looking at around the same figures. This would be true, I think, for the senior developers, obviously. And I think for this video, that's it, guys. And thank you for tuning in. And please do like and subscribe for more content like this. And the next one, I will be jumping back into code, Spring Boot, microservices, APIs, and we'll see that in action. So don't say that I'm doing Spring because of these numbers that we see on screen, but we're doing Spring because this is Java centric channel, and we are doing Angular and Spring Boot from beginner to expert level, and we are creating projects. Right now, Angular is we're creating hello worlds basically at this point for Angular and for Spring Boot, and we will make sure that those two speak together by the end of those two tutorials, and you would be able to start a project from nothing and be able to bring it into life and deliver it to production, hopefully. So at this point, we do have microservices tutorial and Angular tutorial, and I'm busy with some database scaffolding that I'm doing right now in Postgres. So once the database is ready, we're gonna jump in, back into our microservices, get our entities into place, and create our service implementations, business logic, do some test cases as well on that, and we will also be creating controllers, and then we'll start pulling those into our Angular application and see how we can make our backend speak to our front end, and also see if we can get APIs to integrate with and play around with, so that we have a solid product that we can ship to market, see how it does. And that's it for now, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Please do like and subscribe. Cheers.